Antonio starts right now.
Taking a look outside with live cam, the sun is out. It's going to be a warm start to your weekend. We have all the good stuff with Sarah in just a bit, but good morning. It is 8 o'clock on Saturday, June 29th.
Hey everyone, good morning. It's wonderful to have Erica Hernandez here with us this morning. Sarah off on a vacation, but it is a vacation having you here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I always love being with you guys. It's great.
We bring the energy in the morning hours here. Now, those morning clouds, wow, they were short-lived. Okay,
are they gone already?
We're already seeing them break up, Erica.
Okay.
So we even had a couple of streamer showers early this morning, but gone are the rain chances for the day. And hello, sunshine. It is 82 in San Antonio, but it feels like 90 degrees as we're starting the day. It already feels like it's in the 90s. 81 in New Braunfels, 84 in Del Rio. Good morning, Bernie. It's 77 and 77 in Kerrville. Looking at those hourly temperatures, quick warm up here. By 10, it's going to be 88. By noon, 90. 98 for the high temperature this afternoon. A hot day for us here in San Antonio, and that 98 is going to feel even hotter. I want to mention that there's some moisture that is going to be moving onto the Yucatan Peninsula from the Caribbean. This is likely going to stay well south of Texas in the coming days, but bringing some good rain to Mexico. By Sunday afternoon in the valley, if you're traveling down to the valley, it is going to be 4th of July next week. So if you're going down to the valley, there could be some rain tomorrow there. But here in San Antonio, we'll really only just have a little bit more cloud cover from that. Otherwise, it is going to be a hot and humid weekend. 98 for the high today, 96 tomorrow. Again, with that rain in the valley, there's a small 20% chance that we could see an isolated shower here in San Antonio. But the heat index today, 107 for the high. Coming up, I'm going to have a neighborhood view of the heat index values. We also just got the pollen count in, and we're going to talk about Saharan dust. A lot to discuss in the forecast coming up. Erica.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, 2 former law enforcement officers have been charged for their handling of the Robb Elementary School shooting in 2022. Former Uvalde School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo and former school district officer Adrian Gonzalez were both indicted by a grand jury on Thursday. Gonzalez turned himself in yesterday afternoon. He's facing 29 counts of child abandonment and endangerment. That number reflects the 19 students who died in the shooting, along with the 10 who survived. He has since been released from jail on a $10,000 bond. On Thursday, following the indictment, Arredondo turned himself in. He's facing 10 counts of the same charges, child abandonment and endangerment. That number reflects the survivors of this shooting at Robb Elementary. He also bonded out of jail on $10,000. Meanwhile, some family members of the shooting victims are waiting and hoping more indictments will come. Brett Cross, guardian to Uzziah Garcia, had this to say.
It's a good start. It's a good step. And I hope that that's all that this is that they're going to continue moving forward with others, because if you're going to put all of the 376 officers were there for 77 minutes and you're just going to put the blame on solely 2, then that's not enough.
We'll continue to follow this story. Stay with us online at KSAT.com. San Antonio Police and Crime Stoppers is asking for your help in finding the person responsible for the murder of George Ramos. He was shot multiple times back on June 20th in 2019 while inside his car at a Shell gas station near Culebra Road. Surveillance video showed a man coming into Ramos's vehicle, exiting it, and then driving off in a red 4-door sedan. Ramos was 20 years old and a professional boxer when he was killed. If you have any information, you're asked to call 210-224-STOP. The search continues to fill the director's seat of Animal Care Services in San Antonio. More than 70 people have applied for the job, and the city says interviews have narrowed this search down to single digit. As Avery Everett shows us, community members say big expectations are in store for the city's new hire.
Nobody wants to be at risk of this anymore. It's got to stop.
A plea and a call to the city.
It's time to do something different.
As the city searches for its new Animal Care Services director, community members like Beatriz de los Santos want leaders to stop and listen.
People like us have experienced everything that happens afterwards.
She wants the community to be involved in this decision that she says will impact the entire city. And that's because her husband, Max, suffered from a dangerous dog bite.
Max had 2 amputations. It was the hardest thing that any person can go through.
Where do you find the strength as a family to push through and still advocate for change in San Antonio?
I think the love that I have for my husband, the love that I have for humanity.
The city says this director search process is still ongoing. As of Friday night, no announcement has been made if a candidate has been selected, and there's no timeline on when this decision will be finalized.
A spokesperson for the city confirmed 4 final applicants have interviewed with panels. They were comprised of city executives, ACS advisory board members, and local animal welfare advocates. But people like Kelly Walls wish the city included more of the community in this discussion.
I feel that the city missed an opportunity to have those individuals that could lend their voices to talk about the true impact.
Especially people like the De Los Santos family.
They also did not include any victims of the dangerous dog attacks who could tell them about the struggles that they had.
Now with the prosthetics, it's given him so much hope.
Max De Los Santos is in recovery, but as the city narrows its search,
Anything can happen outside our door, and we need to be very vigilant.
the San Antonio community is still on standby. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Now, the city says as soon as it reaches a decision, it will let the public know. We'll keep you posted on air and online at KSAT.com. Happening today, Boeing is holding a hiring event for mechanics at the Boeing Center at Techport, and it's running from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The aerospace company is looking for mechanics to support a number of programs. You can apply for any of the open roles. Before you go, we have a link to do that on KSAT.com. Also happening at 9:30 this morning, District 10 is hosting a Project Cool fan distribution to those in need at the Northeast Senior Citizen on 4135 Thousand Oaks Drive. It's an event to make sure everyone has the necessary tools to beat the heat this summer. It goes on until 12:30. We'll be live out there in our 9 a.m. newscast checking in on that distribution. Making sure you're hydrated in this heat is important, but sometimes it could be hard to tell if your body needs just a glass of water or something packed with extra electrolytes instead. What experts are saying that could help you make that decision quicker this summer. Time now is 8:07 a.m. It is 82 degrees outside. We're going to take a live look right now with Live Cam. Good look right there at the city. The sun's coming up. The clouds are going away. It's going to be a warm one. There's also some hair and dust in the air. Sarah will have all the latest coming up in weather. It's a critical part of overall health. Proper hydration helps the body function normally, but in the summer heat, it can be hard to know how to best replenish what's lost in sweat. So how do you know when to drink just a glass of water or a Pedialyte? Experts say on average you need about 4 to 6 glasses of water, while an active person may need more, which means turning to a drink that has extra electrolytes. But it's important to always read the labels.
May be taking in way too many calories, right? Way too much sugar, and you also may be well above your recommended diet. So I think, as with anything, it's a balancing act.
Something else that's also important to keep in mind, making sure to hydrate before, during, and after any activity, especially in the summer heat, and that's exactly what Sarah is doing right now. She is hydrating for the day.
I got my Yeti. And let me tell you, I fill this thing up like probably 10 times a day.
Like the giant like Stanley one when I go to court.
Really,
it's like,
yeah.
Got to keep it going. Got to keep replenishing that water.
I do feel better when I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Instead of my mini Diet Cokes. Well, and it's going to be a big day that you want to stay hydrated because we are expecting to see a ton of humidity out there. It looks like my graphics got ahead of themselves, so you get a little preview of our graphic system. We got some new graphics here in the Weather Lab, pretty neat. Let's go ahead and start, though, with the heat alerts for the day. We are looking at a heat advisory for many areas around San Antonio. Excessive heat warning, though, up north in parts of Texas, North Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas and Louisiana. It's a big travel day, because next week is 4th of July. So if you're planning on hitting the roads, just know that it's going to be hot anywhere around Texas. Little to no rain chance around Texas today. This is a look at the heat index values across areas this afternoon. We're going to be feeling like 110 in Dallas, 109 in Shreveport, 109 in Oklahoma City. Here in San Antonio, though, 107 for the feel-like temperature this afternoon. And as I mentioned, no real rain. That's because all the rain's going up and over. It's because of this heat dome creating a lot of humidity and just preventing the rain, allowing for a ton of heat this afternoon, not only here but across the state of Texas. And that heat dome not really going anywhere. So as we look at the daytime highs over the next 5 days, this is what we've got. Not only are we going to be looking at high temperatures, some 5 degrees hotter than average, but because the humidity is not going anywhere, it's going to feel anywhere from 105 to 110 in the coming days. A very hot start to July. It's 82 outside right now. Now, just an hour ago, we had pretty much a blanket of cloud cover out there, and that has really started to break up. Another factor today, in addition to the humidity, are going to be the winds. So keep this in mind, golfers. Winds are going to be from the southeast at 10 miles per hour, 10 to 15 miles per hour, but we just recorded a gust of up to 23 miles per hour at the airport. So a few gusts of up to 25 miles per hour are possible. As we look at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, walking you through hour by hour, by noon, it is going to feel like it's 100 already. And then in the afternoon, we'll be in the 90s, but the temperature will be in the 90s, but the heat index is going to feel anywhere from 105 to 110. Notice the winds staying breezy from the southeast at 15 miles per hour, and we'll have mostly sunny skies. Even by this evening, 9 o'clock, it's still going to be 8 o'clock rather, it's still going to be in the low 90s. This is a look at the neighborhood heat index values this afternoon. Impressive. Again, 107 in San Antonio, the peak heat index, 109 in New Braunfels. But I want you to take a look out to the west. Del Rio, Eagle Pass, feeling like 110 degrees. Now, usually out west in Del Rio, Eagle Pass, it's a bit of a dry heat. That is not going to be the case today. So everyone needs to make sure to be aware of the humidity today, even out west. There is going to be a little bit of Saharan dust in the air this weekend, but I've got some good news for you. The air quality is not going to be impacted too much by the Saharan dust. It's way too high up in the atmosphere, and the plume is not necessarily dense. So air quality should just be one step below good. And here's a look at that plume of Saharan dust coming off of the Saharan desert itself across the Atlantic. As I show you, it's not until Monday that we could see that plume being a little bit more dense around San Antonio. And so only then on Monday would there potentially be some impacts to those with severe allergies. Otherwise, the vast majority of us, the only thing you're going to notice is a haze on the horizon. Speaking of allergies, here's a look at today's pollen count. Molds are up just slightly from yesterday. They're past 1,300. Pigweed is present too, but in low numbers. Looking ahead to the forecast, again, a 20% chance for an isolated shower tomorrow. We'll be talking about the reason behind that coming up in the next half hour. And we'll be looking at temperatures close to 100 for the 4th of July. Plus, yesterday, late last night, Tropical Storm Beryl formed in the Atlantic Erica. So coming up, I'm going to have an update on Tropical Storm Beryl. Looks like it is going to be a hurricane very soon. I've got to look at the track coming up.
Beryl.
Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L. It's a name.
That's a name.
I'm sure there might even be some Beryls watching us, so let us know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's a name I hadn't seen before. I know. Okay, talking about names, when they do name the hurricanes or the tropical storms, they're recycled, or they do new names every year?
Oftentimes they're recycled. If there's a storm that is named a name and it doesn't become that severe, it'll be used again eventually. But all of this is predetermined by the World Meteorological Organization.
Okay, good to know. I didn't know that.
I'll bring the weather facts.
Thank you, Sarah. Time now is 8:17. It is 82 degrees. A centuries-old cemetery forgotten over the years is getting the attention of several history lovers in San Antonio. Why they want it restored, it's all in Jesse Degollado's final edition of History Untold after the break. In a city as old as San Antonio, there are quite a few historic cemeteries, like on the city's east side. In her final episode of History Untold, Jessie Degollado has the story of one of the many small forgotten cemeteries left yet to be found.
The Forgotten Cemetery story actually began right here at the KSAT front desk 3 years ago when someone dropped off a handwritten letter and a map, but no name or phone number. Embarrassed to say, I finally found the letter a couple of weeks ago in my bottomless pit, otherwise known as my purse.
The letter led us to this stretch of New Laredo Highway lined with junkyards, where we finally found this locked gate at the end of a small road. Fortunately, the property owner allowed us in, and not just me.
Hopefully you get the information we need. All right, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Randy Vale is grateful these lovers of history are curious about what's on the property he'd bought 30 years ago.
Find out who they are and why they're here, because I don't know.
In the group, also eager to find out, was the chair of the Bexar County Historical Commission.
To see something like this, it just opens my mind up for more.
Hidden in a tree grove is a small, forgotten cemetery filled with broken and toppled headstones. But most grave sites had none. From what Bexar County archivist David Carlson could tell, from markers, mostly in Spanish, that were still somewhat legible.
Another vernacular grave marker with a crucifix inscribed on it. Over half a century of burials here. And it's surrounded by farmland.
The discovery was an emotional one for Mary Bettoni. The 12-year-old buried here in 1918, Louis Bettoni, and his baby brother Roberto, only 8 months old when he died, were uncles she never knew.
I just can't believe it. I never thought this was going to happen. I never thought we were going to see this.
Her grandparents, Roberto and Angelita Bettoni, had a large family, she says, but times were hard back then.
She had quite a few that were young that died.
Close by is the headstone of a newborn infant belonging to another family.
A little girl who died a week old, Maria Virginia Lugo Ugartechea.
The child of Juan Lugo and Dolores Ugartechea, the parents of 6 surviving children. Their youngest and only son, Alfonso Lugo, says he and his sisters grew up in a hardworking but poor family, which is why Lugo believes Virginia was laid to rest in what may have been a potter's field or pauper's cemetery. Sadly, he says his mother never knew where her baby was buried by her own father. Neither did Virginia's brother when he placed her stone here years later. In his text, Lugo says, "My main concern was to honor my sister and appease my poor mother's soul." This partially dug grave perhaps shows how impoverished families back then would often bury their own. Lugo remembers this as Leoncito Cemetery, since Leon Creek is nearby. Yet Bexar County records show it as St. Teresa Cemetery. But the San Antonio Archdiocese told us there was no record of it.
We don't know why. We don't know who actually owns the cemetery.
Look at the cross there, my gosh.
Until then, there's much to do.
There's going to have to be an attempt made to document where the burials are.
Perhaps with ground-penetrating radar. Or, for now, Sarah Reevely's time-tested dowsing rod that she says located 6 graves here.
To move the headstones, is it a desecration? We can't do that. We can't do that.
But there's plenty of brush to be cleared.
They don't have to haul it away. They can just put it outside at the cemetery.
The owner says he'll add it to the piles that are out there now. And to keep his cattle from trampling over the graves, a fence is needed, in hopes the cemetery's dignity can someday be restored.
It's about family members reconnecting with their ancestors.
On the southwest side, Jessie Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
Happening here in San Antonio, if you're a fan of Japanese culture, you may want to check out Daiso. The store is now open in the Alamo Ranch area. Large crowds of people camped out in front for its grand opening. The Japanese-inspired store has home decor, stationery, food, beauty, and more. Lots of people are excited to have it here in town.
It should have been here sooner for sure, but hey, we're happy now, and hopefully other things follow suit as well.
For more information on the store's hours, just head to ksat.com. And check this out. A new monthly chef-driven dinner series is debuting in San Antonio at St. Paul's Square. Later this month, Steve Mahone, a local bar owner, and Kimberly Suta, a food writer and culinary entrepreneur, are working together on the St. Paul's Square Dinner Club. The new series will be hosted at Blaine's, the bar above Francis Bogside in St. Paul's Square, just north of the Alamo Dome. We have all the details on KSAT.com. We'll be right back. Good morning. It's 8:30 on this Saturday morning. It's June 29th. I'm here with the wonderful Sarah Spivey.
Well, I'm here with the wonderful Erica Hernandez. It's great to see you this morning.
Yeah.
We are going to be looking at a very hot day around San Antonio. And in the pollen count, it's not great news. The molds are up from yesterday. They're at 1,300. Pigweed is low at 10. Right now outside, those morning clouds breaking up. It's going to be a hot and humid day. It's 83, but here's the thing. It already feels like it's 91. It's also pretty breezy, too. We're going to have south-southeast winds today at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. We've already seen a wind gust of up to 25 miles per hour, so it is going to be a breezy day. It's 82 in New Braunfels, 80 in Hondo, it's 82 in Pleasanton, 84 in Del Rio. Good morning in Gonzales, it's 83 degrees. Planning on going to the pool? I would if I had some time this afternoon. It's going to be in the 90s and mostly sunny. Here's the thing, already feeling like 100 by noon and feeling like 107 during the peak heat of the day. UV index is going to be extreme at the top of the scale. Skin damage time within 10 minutes. All right, the heat index this weekend, 105 to 110. That's the big story, the thing to keep in mind. It is going to be near 100 degrees for the 4th of July with no rain chances. But I do have an update on the tropics that you're going to want to stick around for. Last night, Tropical Storm Beryl formed in the Atlantic. I'll show you where that tropical storm is heading. Erica.
8 years, that's how long Samantha Castillo will spend in prison. A jury handing down that verdict yesterday after deliberating for about 8 hours. Earlier this week, Castillo pleaded guilty to driving drunk and killing bicyclist Beatrice Gonzalez back in April of 2021. Castillo was facing anywhere from probation to 20 years behind bars. For the first time in 2 decades, Bexar County will have a new elections administrator. Jackie Callanan's resignation was accepted unanimously by the County Elections Commission yesterday. The Bexar County Elections Commission held a public meeting Friday where at least 10 people spoke during public comment, many criticizing Callanan's administration's communication and voter turnout numbers. Callanan's job isn't finished just yet with the November presidential election coming up.
To start what we finished, I'm very, very proud of what we've had. And this year is going to be contentious. It would be a blessing to be able to complete this and give the citizens of Bexar County a clean election.
Now, according to Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai, Callanan will carry out her duties until January 1st, 2025, but he says the county will start a nationwide search for a suitable replacement soon. Who protects the protectors? That's the idea behind Operation Safe Shield, as our Patty Santos explains, a program that protects officers when they're in their vehicle during a possible shootout is now being implemented here after successful installments in other parts of the state.
I'm Patty Santos with Clifford Dorn, the organizer for Operation Safe Shield. You started this because you wanted to equip law enforcement with bullet-resistant shields.
Correct. Our goal is to protect officers when they're in their vehicle. So we provide a ballistic package that covers the windshield, both front side windows, and the door itself.
And show us what that looks like.
Okay, so
this is in case a law enforcement person was involved in a shootout.
Correct. You know, there's been a lot of cases here recently in the news where officers are ambushed. Somebody just walks up and starts shooting at them, or if you're doing a traffic stop. So this is ballistic glass. So handgun rounds cannot penetrate this side window, but yet because it's a polymer, an officer can return fire through this glass from the inside out.
And let's show the thickness of it, just so people can get a sense. This is not your ordinary glass. Look at the thickness of this. And this is your regular windshield.
This is OEM glass, and then this is the special bullet-resistant polymer that has an air pocket in there, so it has gas in there. And so this is what gives it the ballistic capabilities right there. So that gives you the protection. Then the windshield is very similar, but the windshield, of course, is thicker because we don't have to have it functioning. These windows, of course, we have to have them completely functioning. So I want them to go all the way up and all the way down.
Yeah, and just this is a regular one here, but this is not. But this is just an example, obviously. Right. You've already equipped over 100 patrol cars in Texas with this protection?
Yes, we've done a little over, I think it's 115 cars in the Brazos Valley. I think San Antonio is looking at doing about 600 cars. So that's going to be several $1 million right there. We're trying to equip all the cars in the 25 departments around Bexar County, all the smaller departments like here at Live Oak, where they don't have those kind of budgets that they can go in. If they only have to do 5 cars, that's still almost $50,000 for them.
Clifford Dorn, Operation Safe Shield. This is, maybe a lot of people haven't heard of this, but this is the first time they'll be hearing about it because you want to become known in this community so we can help law enforcement out. We're going to have more on this story on KSAT.com. Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
In your morning headlines, the latest shark attack, a boater recovering this morning after being bitten off Florida's Atlantic coast. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest, as this is the 4th shark attack in Florida this month.
This morning, a Florida boater is recovering in the hospital after a shark latched onto his arm during a fishing trip on the Atlantic Ocean near Jacksonville. The boater managing to flag down Water Patrol.
When they got to the boat, there was a adult male in there that had a severe shark bite to his forearm here. Lost a lot of blood. He was bleeding pretty bad.
A deputy seen here applying this tourniquet. The man then flown to a nearby hospital. His injuries non-life-threatening.
The deputy was a hero when he arrived to make sure he took care of the situation.
Friday's incident marks the 4th person attacked in Florida just this month alone and comes as other states have reported sightings and dangerous encounters. 14-year-old Blaine Brown speaking out earlier this week about the moment he was bitten by a shark off of North Carolina's coast.
I think a wave hit us, and a few seconds later, it just bit me. I just got lucky there so many people were around.
Meanwhile, in Hawaii, loved ones remembering surfer and actor Tamayo Perry, killed by a shark in the waters off Oahu.
That was ABC's Morgan Norwood. Now, police and wildlife rescuers scrambled to rescue about 100 beach dolphins in Massachusetts after a low tide in Cape Cod. The International Fund for Animal Welfare sent a team to respond. The Atlantic white-sided dolphins were found stuck in the mud and shallow water. Rescuers are trying this morning to herd them into deeper water and prevent them from overheating or getting sunburned until the tide rises again. Time now is 8:39. It is 82 degrees out. Are you headed to the beach this weekend? Well, there are some new safety guidelines from the American Society for Testing and Materials over beach umbrellas. I'll tell you about them after the break. Taking a look outside now at Live Cam. It is a warm start to your Saturday. It's just going to get hotter. Sarah will have your full forecast coming up. Oh, how I wish I was heading to the beach this weekend. If you're heading to the beach this weekend, you might want to be aware of some new safety guidelines for umbrellas. The updated safety standards for the American Society for Testing and Materials recommend using 75 pounds of resistance on the bottom of the pole to hold it down and looking for anchors with a label indicating meets ASTM F3681 for winds up to 30 miles per hour. Now, officials also say digging a 2-foot hole for the umbrella to make sure it doesn't move, because of course it gets really windy out there when at the beach.
And I will say, there is nothing quite like when, a wind gust comes and knocks down your umbrella. That stinks. But then, have you ever been at the beach when it starts raining?
I don't think I have.
And the wind picks it up? Oh my gosh, it's like little bullets. Because it's wind-driven rain. Now, it's not really going to rain Corpus Christi area or Rockport area this weekend, but further on south, like Rio Grande Valley, South Padre Island,
further down,
there might be a little bit of rain tomorrow. So we've got a lot to talk about in the forecast. Of course, the big thing for everybody to know is that it's going to be hot this weekend with the heat index of 105 to 110. And by the 4th of July, we're still going to be near 100. However, the thing I want to start with today is a tropics update. First, let's go ahead and take a look at the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see there's an area of low pressure right here. It's going to move over the Yucatan and into parts of the southern Gulf of Mexico. And this is really just going to bring some rain for Mexico, some much needed rain for Mexico. All of the moisture is going to stay to the south. However, in the Rio Grande Valley, there could be some rain tomorrow. And then even here in San Antonio, we're going to be a little bit cloudier, but we only have a 20% chance for an isolated shower. Again, most of the moisture is going to stay well south of San Antonio, but we did include a 20% chance for an isolated shower tomorrow for your Sunday. All right, let's go a little bit further on off out into the Atlantic. You see this right here? This is Tropical Storm Beryl. Tropical Storm Beryl is expected to strengthen to a hurricane overnight, maybe even a Category 2 hurricane by tomorrow, and make its way toward the Caribbean by Thursday of next week. So 4th of July of next week, Beryl is expected to be somewhere between Cuba and well south of Jamaica. Now, beyond that point, it's too early to tell if Beryl is going to, one, make landfall at all. It might fall apart over parts of the Gulf of Mexico. And even if it does maintain into a hurricane, you can't really tell yet if it makes landfall in Mexico, in the U.S. We will keep you posted. However, that is a way past 4th of July. So keep that in mind. We'll be tracking Beryl for quite some time, just the second named storm of Atlantic hurricane season. Outside right now, we're seeing clouds break up. It's 83 in San Antonio, 82 in New Braunfels, Del Rio. It's 84, Burning 79. Winds are breezy, and winds are going to stay breezy today from the south or south-southeast at about 15 miles per hour. And we have already seen a wind gust of up to 25 miles per hour today. So it is going to be a breezy day and very humid. Humidity sitting anywhere from 80 to 95% right now. You can see that we do have some clouds out there this morning that are starting to break up. It is, however, cloudier out near Del Rio. Del Rio, it's still overcast out there. Looking at your KSAT 12-hour forecast, partly cloudy skies this morning. By noon, it's going to be 90, feeling like 100. In the afternoon, we'll be looking at temperatures climbing to 98 for the high, feeling like 107. And again, breezy south-southeast winds at 15 miles per hour. Then later on tonight, it's still going to be in the 90s by 8 p.m. So a hot day for us. Highs in the upper 90s around San Antonio. Triple digits the further west you go, 104 Del Rio, 101 in Eagle Pass. But this is pretty nasty this afternoon. It's going to feel anywhere from 105 to 110. And this is pretty similar forecast to tomorrow, except there will be a small chance for an isolated shower. Temperatures just 2 degrees, quote unquote, cooler, still in the upper 90s. And that's actually going to be the quote unquote coolest day over the next several days. We'll be looking at highs near 100 in the week ahead, and for 4th of July, close to 100 degrees. No rain chances though, so your barbecues won't be ruined by rain, but it might be ruined by some sweat. It's going to be a hot 4th of July for sure. And coming up, I am going to have a look at how many 100-degree days have we seen so far this year.
I was just going to actually ask
that. Do you
have
have a guess?
Let me see. I'm going to say like 5.
Okay, 5. Remember,
but there's one coming up this week.
Yeah.
And it's different. I want people to understand it's different. When you say it feels like, that doesn't mean it actually
the thermometer actually reaches 100. So you say 5.
I say 5.
So coming up at 9 o'clock, I'm going to have an update on how many 100-degree days there have been so far this year.
Like a lot, though. Your time now, it is 8:48. It is 83 degrees out there. Imagine getting a kidney transplant while fully awake. Well, we'll show you the newest medical breakthrough and how it can help thousands still waiting for a transplant next. Imagine getting a kidney transplant and being awake through the entire process. ABC's Rhiannon Alley shows us how doctors came up with this medical breakthrough and what it means for thousands needing kidney transplants.
This morning, a medical milestone in Chicago.
Are you awake, John?
28-year-old John Nicholas is now the first patient at Northwestern Medical to undergo a kidney transplant while fully awake.
It's just a boost of energy to the team to be able to look back and say, we
potentially change the way that kidney transplant can be done.
Instead of general anesthesia, which is typically used for this surgery, doctors gave Nicholas a single spinal anesthesia shot, similar to what's used during a C-section. The entire procedure was performed in less than 2 hours.
We placed the spinal in the operating room with a little bit of sedation, and then that was the main anesthetic. It was incredibly simple and uneventful.
The revolutionary surgery paving the way for life-saving kidney transplants in patients who can't have general anesthesia, while also cutting hospitalization for kidney transplants from 3 days to just 24 hours.
Give an incredible gift to a friend is always a good feeling in your heart.
That's 29-year-old Pat Wise, Nicholas's donor and best friend since elementary school. Wise says when he got a text about donating, he didn't hesitate to sign up.
We've always said to each other that we're ride or die friends, and that we're always kind of with each other for life. But actually having such a bona fide example where we've got each other's back, like it meant the world to me.
Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
The CDC has announced new recommendations for the COVID-19 and flu vaccines for this fall. Anyone 6 months of age and older should receive one of the new COVID-19 vaccines when they become available. Updated vaccines give targeted protection from a virus, and immunity from a previous shot or infection decreases over time. Time now is 8:53. It is 83 degrees. It's time to get some coffee. We'll be right back, and we'll come back for the whole nother hour. Well, this week, Elton John launched his Rocket Man resale auction on eBay to raise money for his AIDS Foundation. Fans of the superstar could grab a piece from his Atlanta wardrobe for as little as $26.60. Now, and if you're wondering why the price is so specific, well, it's a nod to the Peachtree Road address of John's previous Atlanta home. If you'd like to own a piece from John's collection, you'll have to hurry up and bid. The auction will be up for 10 days only. Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are currently filming Freaky Friday 2. They are reprising their roles of mother and daughter, Anna and Tess Coleman. The producers are keeping details about the plot mostly under wraps. However, Disney did reveal some points about the sequel, saying the movie takes place years after the original, and Lohan's character now has a daughter of her own. Freaky Friday 2 is scheduled for a 2025 release. Your time now is 8:56. It's 83 degrees. We'll be right back.